Good evening, wonderful people, and welcome to another edition of your Sunday evening conversation, the Sunday Night Fest. On this episode of Sunday Night Fest, we are going to be exploring a very important conversation. Well, the crux of the matter is excellence, all right? However, the subject focus is one of the tools required for excellence. Do not ever underestimate it, and it's one thing you cannot overestimate as well. It's a required tool for excellence. I call it obsession. Yes, you heard me clearly. Obsession. And you would like to ask, how is obsession a tool for excellence? Well, that's why we're here. In the affairs of a man, there are things that I like to classify as spiritual affairs. There are those I like to classify as the affairs of the soul and the affairs of the body. Now, the affairs of the body simply require maintenance and proper care. For one reason, the body cannot last forever, it will die. For the affairs of the soul, I prefer education. And this is because the soul is the seat of consciousness, all right? And everything you will do, everything you will become, has to come from that which you know, that which you have mastered, or that which you have a good handle on. All right? And that is as a result of what is locked up in your consciousness. So if you meet a man who is well educated, who knows everything necessary for the field in which he has stepped his foot into, you will meet a very excellent man who is needed across board and for many things. And the simple reason is because he knows what it takes. What everyone needs, what the sector needs, what this subsector needs is right within his control. And because he has this knowledge, he can prosper with it. So when it comes to the affairs of the mind, the strict recommendation, the highest recommendation possible, is actually knowledge acquisition. Now, after knowledge acquisition, there has to be an important clause, which is practice of what has been learned. Because knowledge can be acquired without being used. All right? So, to avoid that extreme and that excess. So, when it comes to the affairs of the mind, taking good care of your soul, your expression, your ability to think, your ability to do, I would recommend getting knowledge for anything at all, as long as it concerns that area of life. Get knowledge. Knowledge fixes it. If knowledge does not fix it, knowledge shows you what to do to fix it. Knowledge shows you where to go to fix it. You must know to be able to do. Knowledge can be intellectual, knowledge can be experiential. In both cases, they are still referred to as knowledge and they are to be acquired. Talking about obsession. Obsession is a state of the mind where it is consumed by a single thing, probably a single idea, a single person, or a single activity. But obsession is a state of mind in which the whole capacity of the mind, the whole capacity of the soul is consumed by one single thing. In the case of an entrepreneur who desires high level success, their minds are often consumed by what they have to offer the world. You meet an entrepreneur who is planning to build a unicorn and he is waking up and sleeping right in front of his computer, focusing on how to expand what he's building, focusing on how to make the best out of what he's about to sell. Obsession. So you can be obsessed with a thing, with an idea, a person, or an activity. There is a perverse kind of love that is seen in some cases, not the most popular case anyway, but relatively very popular, where two people who claim to be in love are only just obsessed with each other. And oftentimes it leads to hurt. Well, that's not the topic of my conversation, but it's something to note. When the mind is in a state of obsession, right? Whatever it is you're obsessed with controls your mind. Everything about the mind, it controls your actions, your emotions, and your decision. There are three main aspects of the soul: the intellect, the will, and the emotions. The intellect is the seat of intellectual consciousness. The will is the seat of decision making, and the emotion is the seat of feelings. All right, but when obsession comes in, it takes over the mind, it takes over the will, and it takes over the emotion. It looks like an extreme thing, but it is a requirement for success. And let me show you. I have a very common example, a world renowned example. The first footballer to become a billionaire, Cristiano Ronaldo. A weird example, right? I can understand. The first footballer ever to cross into the billionaire status. Everyone who has played with him, who has been his teammate at one point in time or the other, who has ever had the opportunity to do an interview or to get in a podcast to talk about his life, they say some certain things. Number one, he is always the first to get to training, long before training starts. He is always the last to leave. He trains when everyone is resting. He trains when everyone is training. And his diet is so controlled, his lifestyle is also so controlled that the only thing he wants is success on the football pitch. And guess what? He has it. And many people have never believed that a footballer can play with energy and vigor up until age 40. But he has done it. Unfortunately for this, I don't want to call him a young man now because he is not young anymore. Fortunately for this man, he's still continuing. He has no plans to stop as of now. He has enough energy to compete with a 25-year-old simply because for the longest time possible, the only thing that he has been focused on is to succeed in his career, in his footballing career. And everything that he needs to get that done, he has committed to it. So much so that I am tempted to say he has no other desire apart from success. So sometimes when he faces a loss, which is inevitable in the game of football, you see him crying and you're wondering, you have won almost everything that there is to win. You have more success than the average person can desire. He has more success than the average footballer can get. Yet, he doesn't seem to be resting. He wants more still. And you will think, is he normal? No. He is obsessed with excellence. And his obsession doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. I'm giving that as a secular example because you know him. He is very well known. All right? So I mentioned earlier that it's a tool for success. One of the most important tools for success is actually focus. Focus is a tool for success. If you ever find a man who is focused on what he is doing, he will achieve success simply because challenges are meant to come, challenges will come. In fact, I am tempted to say at one point in time or the other, you will experience a taste of what looks like failure. Even if it is not the clearest definition of failure, you will experience what actually looks like it. But when the man is single eyed, he is focused, he is laser sharp, he will get anything he wants. Yes, that's the basic manifestation of obsession. He will get anything he wants. I was on Twitter one of these days and I saw a lady who said there was a young man who wooed her for about 3 years. 1, 2, 3 years. That is over 1,000 days of consistently and persistently asking a lady to be in a relationship with you. And yes, he got what he wanted. Eventually, we found out he simply wanted to sleep with the lady. But yes, 3 years of perpetual craze, and he got what he wanted. There have been people who have run businesses for 3 years before they made their first profit. There are people who have done it for 7 before they made their first profit. And some of them are billion-dollar corporations now. They simply had one problem. They were obsessed with success. And they were obsessed with getting it right in what they have laid their hands on. If you want it, you will give your best for it. If you want it. Success does not come at no cost. Success comes at a cost. And I wish this cost was not expensive. I wish it wasn't. It comes at a cost. And until you lay down what it's asking for, you cannot pick it up. Obsession is a necessity. But because of the name and what has been ascribed to it, we tend to feel it is an unhealthy virtue. No, it is not. Obsession is like a gun. In the hands of a policeman, you feel safe. In the hands of a man wearing a balaclava, you find the nearest bush and you run into it. Obsession is like a knife. In the kitchen, it's a utensil. When it is held on the street by a strange face, it's a weapon. Obsession is not evil. Its focus might be the reason and the bone of contention. If a person is obsessed with getting something evil done, forgive me, you have no reason to stop them simply because you may not be able to if you are not trained to do that. So the obsession is not a problem, the desire of the person actually is. The inner nature of the person actually is. So obsession is not the problem. It's an amoral object. It's it's not an evil concept. It depends on its usage. And the person who is making use of it. That you have to understand. Because to think that the word is evil because of how frequently it has been used, you would be wrong. You will be wrong. It is a necessity. It's a kind of passion that exceeds the normal value of the acceptable facial value called normal. It's a kind of passion that how do I describe it? That causes strangers to be weary. When you find a man who is so fixed, who is so fixated on seeing something happen, and it looks like he's facing significant challenges, and regardless of the challenges, he is not giving up. You will be tempted. You'll be tempted to ask, what is your motivation? Why exactly are you trying to do this? What are you trying to achieve? Because at the face of the first, the second, and the third challenge, the average person actually packs up their bags and go home. But this person is facing the seventh challenge and is progressing still. You will begin to ask, what exactly do you want? What are you after? They want success. They don't want the normal value of success that the society have come to accept because they have been programmed to accept it. They want their success to be defined according to their own terms. This is it. It is not the character that everyone has. But when you find someone who has this kind of character, they are programmed for success. Now, less than 5% of the world are actually billionaires. Yet they determine and control the economy of the largest part of the world. Less than 1% of American citizens are billionaires. Yet they control majority of the industries and corporations that are successful in the country. Less than 1%. You will find one thing about them. They are obsessive people. Yes, they are. It's a character that when you find in a person, you know automatically that they will be able to experience a certain level of success. Once you find it, you know success is achievable. There are certain characters you will find in an obsessive person who is obsessed in a healthy manner. The first is that they demonstrate high level commitment. Once they lay their hands on a project, once they try to achieve something, they are committed to the very best level you can think about. High level of commitment. The second thing is that even when there is little to no motivation, their commitment stands still. So there's continuity in them. Not only are they committed, they are willing to continue with little to no motivation. Oh, of course, one of the prerequisites for being a successful entrepreneur is the fact that you will never be motivated every time. If you're waiting for motivation, you are not ready for the journey because you are the one who is supposed to find a way to motivate those who are working with you and show them that the goal is attainable. If you're waiting for someone to motivate you, the journey is a bit longer. They are highly focused. They are not distracted by alternative views because they want to achieve a certain goal in one area. They are very resilient. They don't know how to quit. They don't know how to quit. They are willing to wait it out than quit. They are willing to wait it out than quit. And this is one simple advice I would like to chip in for entrepreneurs. The simple truth is that at a point in time or another, it will look as if there is nothing going on in your business. It may even look as if you are at a point that can be described as stalling, and the next best thing to do is to quit. Well, there's only one known way to survive that season. It is to continue and not quit. Even when it looks like absolutely nothing is working. If you will wait out that season, you will stay in business. The secret to staying in business is staying in business. It is to staying. Yes, the secret to staying in business is staying in business. There's no other secret to it. None. I wish there was, I would have told you, and I would have gladly told you for free. But the secret to staying in business is simply staying. Obsessive people are very resilient. They have not learned how to quit, and they have patience. Oh yes, patience is what defines them. They will not quit. They also work and produce at high levels. When you find someone who is given to high level of productivity, all right, I mean high level of productivity, pay a little bit of attention to them. You will find out that certain things define them. Obsession is a part of it. They have a very selective lifestyle. And what do I mean by selective lifestyle? They only give their self and their attention to the things that will benefit their goal. They do not attend every party. They are not in everybody's face. They only do the things that they consider to be absolutely necessary. If it is not necessary, it can be forfeited. If it is not totally necessary, it can be forfeited. So much so that sometimes that attitude may need some bit of culturing to be attached to it because they can let go of things that are relatively very important, but as at when and where they are at that point in time, it is of no use to them. They live a very selective lifestyle. You don't get their attention simply because you want to. You get their attention because you have something of value to offer. They are value oriented. They are result and process oriented. They are high level producers. And they have high level accountability. When things go right, they tell you what they did. When things go wrong, they accept their fault and they tell you what they need to do to get it. They never ascribe the blame of their actions to any other person. No, they don't. They consider it foolishness to do so. They take responsibility at all times. And one final attribute is that they are always learning. They are willing to learn more so that they can do more. The end is that their goal must be achieved. And when you find someone who is given to much learning, you'll find a successful person. I'll say it again. When you found someone who is given to much learning, you have found a successful person. That is who you have found. Because the more they know and take actions by the virtue of knowledge that they have acquired, the more success they can attain. So, from the characteristics I have listed, at what point in time did this stop looking like the characteristics of every successful person you have ever thought of, or you have experienced, or you have encountered and met? Yes. Excellence and obsession with what you have to do to achieve it, they are not separable. They can't be separated. They are always hand in hand with each other. That's why so many people don't attain excellence. And that's why so many people don't attain it early. It is because what it requires may be inconvenient. It may not be instantly gratifying, but eventually it brings you the greatest satisfaction ever that you can find. It may not gratify you immediately, but it will eventually do so. And the ability to play the long game is not something many people have. Hence, many people are not programmed for success at all. And they still don't know. It will take them a very long time to realize. Some may change along the way and eventually achieve a reasonable level of success. That's why some of them achieve it late in life, and some will just never achieve it. Unfortunately, some people will not. I wish it was something that could be changed, but some people will just never know what excellence and success is because what it takes to achieve success, they have never decided to research about it and find it out. They have not. So, my darling friends, when you hear obsession or after this conversation, yeah, take a little break and read the biography of some um, highly successful people who are dead. Read the account of their children, read the account of their fellow co-founders and friends and associates, yeah, and you will find out that they have all or most of these characters. So much so that some of them actually derailed in their obsession, that they had to give up their family. Yes, some people lost their family in exchange for a single goal. I do not recommend that, all right? You can actually be very successful and still be a family person, be family oriented, and fulfill the purpose of a family. But some people actually lost that simply for their goal. So many entrepreneurs have gone through divorce. I mean, at the point in time, I actually believed it was a necessity to go through a rough patch in relationship and marriage to be a successful entrepreneur, because every example I was seeing then was someone who had gone through it or was planning to go through it or was already in the process. But thank God for good examples here who still have their families intact and are highly successful. Do a little more research. You will find out why you have to be single eyed and very focused. In quote, obsessed with success. Obsession has certain problems and it can become a problem at one point in time or another. I will not shy away from that. When what you seek to achieve consumes you rather than helps you progress, then it has become a problem. When it takes away so much from you and gives you so little in exchange, then it is something to be worried about. It is something to be concerned about at that point in time. When it takes away family from you, takes away friends and associates from you, and takes away everything from you, including health, then it's a problem. I had a little taste of this during my PhD studies, and it wasn't the most palatable thing. I had to redefine my definition of success because I was actually putting my health at risk, even when I should not have done that. When the obsession begins to take from you more than it gives to you, it becomes a problem. Now, learn this: the goal, the end goal, can remain the same and must remain the same, but the methods can change. The end goal, the final product, must remain the same, which is high level success or a product you want to market to the whole world. The end goal must remain the same, but the methods can change. The methods can change. In fact, at one point in time or another, one of the markers of success is that your methods are upgraded and updated according to the demands of the time. Methods can change. However, when obsession with a method is placed above achieving the end goal, it's a problem. And I'll use the example of a very common example: supermarket. Supermarkets are successful in physical locations. However, a good number of them have developed a system in which you can place your order from wherever you are and it will be delivered to you without ever having to come to the physical location. It means the goal was get people to buy as much from you and make your profit. However, now there is something called online marketing. There's something called digital marketing, which means as many people as are in the world can actually buy a product from you without you being in their country, in their location, or anywhere near them. Yet you package it in a box and send it to wherever they are, including another country. And everyone who has imbibed that into their method of achieving their end goal have been more successful than people who are fixated on just a single physical location. Now, when someone becomes more obsessed with one method than they are unwilling to change and upgrade and get better at it, yeah, it's a mark that something is going wrong and they seem to not be seeing it. It surely can happen to anyone. So, more often than not, if you're someone who is given to this kind of lifestyle, I recommend what I call break and retreat. Take a break from everything. Take a break from everything, drop everything, and take a 1 day break, extend it to 2 or 3, and evaluate yourself. If you do this at intervals, the frequency and the possibility of mistakes will be drastically reduced. Yes. Because in the process of pursuing many things to achieve many goals, or even one, sometimes you are blindsided to certain things. And because of your very fast movement, people do not even have the opportunity to tell you that something is going wrong. So if you don't self evaluate and check things from time to time by taking a break from them and going for a proper reset, in some places, some people call it a retreat, you will miss many things. Evaluate yourself frequently. I understand that even in your self evaluation, your standard of critics can be very, very high. I do not, I have not at any point in time, and I do not recommend reducing the standards of evaluating yourself. In fact, if you intend to increase it, I do not have any problem with that. I am simply saying do it more frequently. Yep. If you've never been doing it, then that's the foundation behind many of the mistakes you have been making. Do it more often. Now, obsession is like an accelerator. It is required to drive a car to wherever it is you want to get to. But an accelerator alone cannot get you to where you intend to get to with a car. With only an accelerator, one thing is very sure: you will crash. It's only a matter of time. You will crash. Because if you ever have to take any bend, you will crash. So there are certain things that I like to describe as the brakes of an obsessive person. I call them the wisdom that handles obsession. Obsession is always forward minded, goal oriented, result oriented, getting them done fast, getting them done in an excellent manner, in a globally presentable manner. But there are certain points in time in which you need to take bends. There are certain points in time in which you need to take a break. There are certain points in time in which you need to take a stop to continue later. So there are wisdom and actionable tips that are required to keep an obsessive mind and an obsessive person in check. May I mention the first? I like to call it rest. Rest. I understand that I just described somebody who works a lot, who does a lot, and the next thing I am mentioning is rest. I have come to find out that if you are able to do 100 things after you have grown tired, if you had taken a rest when you were tired, you would have come back to do 150 compared to the 100 you did when you were tired. Rest. So when I was doing my PhD studies, all right, I like to work a lot at midnight. Yes, I sleep during the day and work at night. Once I don't have to be in the lab, I prefer to sleep during the day and work at night. So much so, my day can start by 1 p.m. Yes, I am just waking up from bed by 1 p.m. So I most likely slept around 6 a.m. in the morning. So my breakfast might be by 4 p.m. But I began to notice one thing. At the point in time, I was very, very tired. So my speed of processing documents, writing papers was significantly reduced. Yet I was struggling and doing everything possible to, to get it back. I was struggling to do everything except rest. Well, I was still able to achieve a reasonable set of results. But at the point in time, I was forced to rest. Yeah, my body actually did the forcing. I was forced to rest. And when I resumed work, my speed was incredible. My speed of execution, my precision at work was incredible. So much so that I wished I had rested earlier. I would have done so much better in that year. So sometimes when I feel sleepy at work or on my workbench, I simply put down my laptop, put it to sleep, and go to bed. In the next 1 hour, I'm back there. I'm back there refreshed. I'm back there strong. In fact, stronger. If you work a lot, rest a lot. And one of my work principles is that I don't follow the principle of night and day. I follow 24 hours. Once I need to sleep, I sleep. When I wake up, I continue the work. Yes. You should rest a lot. The second is an understanding of times and seasons. There's a time where you have to focus on building the process to ensure that the product that will come at the end is very good. Yet you have to focus on the process, not on the result. There's a time where you have to build and invest. There's a time when your results will come. You can't mix both times. It will be foolishness. No matter how obsessed you are with a farmland, you cannot plant in the morning and reap in the evening. You have to understand that there are times and seasons for everything. I understand that you have given a lot to this whole thing, and it looks like it is becoming slow. The simple truth is, it is not slow. It is only not yet time. Time will have to run its course. Seasons will have to run its course. But time doesn't change so much. The decisions you have made in time would help you change much, because if you have developed yourself, time will become a blessing to you. But if you have not developed yourself, the only thing that time will offer you is death. So if you have developed yourself, time is going to give you the result you want, and the time is going to lead to your promotion. But if there's no development happening anywhere, time is definitely going to lead to death. But still, you have to understand that there are times and seasons for every single thing. The third is what I will call understanding of value. The beauty of a house is not in the painting. The beauty of a house starts from the foundation. If the foundation is troubled, no matter how beautiful the painting is, it is nothing. So do not only put so much of highlight on the result, value the process that produces the result. Do not commit so much to the result that you ignore the process. Put premium value, high premium value on the process that produces the result. Because if the process is good, the result will be good. If the process is bad, the result cannot be good. The result should never be good. As much as you desire good result, also focus so much on the process. A well-detailed process, a well-dealt process will give you a good result. So value the process as much as the result. Keep relationships. You cannot, for the success of a business, for the success of an enterprise, for the success of one project to the other, lose your family, lose your friends, lose your network. It is prime foolishness. It is pride to do so. We are humans and we are social creatures. We live and we live best with interaction. So much so that isolation becomes a punishment. The prison system works on isolation from the larger society. Even in prison, there are still isolated prison cells where perpetual criminals are locked up. So the greatest punishment for any human being is actually isolation. You do not want to isolate yourself from your friends and family simply because you want to achieve a goal. No, you do not. I consider it foolishness. I do not consider it wise in any way, not in any single way at all. Keep relationships. The next I would say is find pleasure in what you're doing. We for one reason or another subscribe to some philosophies that do not recommend pleasure in any way. I think it is high level foolishness because we are beings of pleasure and reward. We have a system particularly dedicated to that, which is the dopamine reward system. You love pleasure, so find pleasure in what you do. Do not see it as a punishment. Do not only see it as a job. Do not only see it as something you are required to achieve. All right. Also derive pleasure from it. It will be wise to do so. Find pleasure, find joy, find satisfaction in what you are doing part time. Finally, before that, I already mentioned take a break and reflect, self evaluate. That's also one of the most important things to note. But the final thing I would like to include is one of the wisdoms and one of the key wisdom is mentorship. Yes, mentorship. Give me a moment to explain that to you. Mentorship is your advantage to look at the life of someone who has gone before you, borrow from their success stories, borrow from their failure stories, avoid their pitfalls, and improve on their success. With a proper mentorship system, you have hit a gold mine because this person is able to see your excesses and help you tame them. This person is able to see that even your so-called results that are good can be better. This person is able to see your potential and help you refine them to be much better than you can ever imagine. I see no reason why you should not have a mentor. I see none. Because he offers you every benefit and takes nothing from you. Because whether you pay for it, you earn great value, or you serve in exchange for it, you still earn proximity, access, and great value. Majority of your problems can be solved if you have someone good to mirror yourself after and to learn from. If you simply had that, you would have been much better. You would make less mistakes, make least terrible mistakes, and save yourself from a whole lot of experiences that you actually do not need if you have a mentor or a proper mentorship system. Get one. You can either serve in exchange for it or pay for it. Yes. Because you're paying for knowledge that has been experienced and refined over a long period of time. Yes, that is exactly what you're subscribing for. I have an academic mentor. All right. I'm a university lecturer, and by that, as well a researcher. I have an academic mentor. I have a few businesses on the side that I run wholeheartedly. Hence, I have business mentors. People I go to with my proposal and they look at it and they say, the third document on page 5, why not make it this instead of this? Why not make it 20 inches or 20 more? Why not visit 20 more cities instead of the 18 you have produced so that you can do 38 and instead of 18? Seeing that the same energy you would need to do 18 is the same that you would need to do 38. They look at it from a superior perspective. They have the advantage of oversight, and it brings me every reward I can think of. It brings me so much reward. Sometimes I don't know the actual weight of my potentials. I don't know how much I can do because, as much as I have tried to stretch it, there is no external person to actually judge my effort and see that this one can be improved on. But with mentors in place, they give me that edge. And they simply put a knife on my throat and say, "You have to become better. You cannot afford to stay this way." You need that. I'm sure you know now that you need to have that. A mentor doesn't necessarily have to be an old person. A contemporary who knows so much more than you, inexcusably knows so much more than you, can be considered a mentor. I am a Christian, and that definitely affects every aspect of my life, all right? And some of my mentors, at least one of them, the Lord had to reveal him to me in a dream, because what he was doing as a then, what everybody knows him to do, is not what he actually does. He does a lot more behind the scene. And the things he does behind the scene are the things that I need to know. And when the Lord introduced him to me, and in our first conversation, I realized that he was everything I needed that I never knew I needed. He's not so old, he's not an older person, but he is definitely older than myself. He is someone I can call an elder brother. Yes, but he is my mentor. And that mentorship has saved me from many mistakes. Now, that mentorship has also given me so much access that myself cannot get just by stepping out. Because some of them he has paid for, and I am walking into them relying on what he has paid for. There are people I have met in my little walk with him and conversations with him that if I want to meet them on my own, I will have to pay through my in-laws. That means I will break the bank to get that done. You do need a mentor, all right? You surely need one. And I hope you find one soon. But I have an academy that runs for that purpose. Yes, I do. So, right in the description of this video, you will find my personal email address. Send me an email, and the details of the Mentorship Academy will be communicated to you. But if you have someone who can do it better than myself, I'm very happy to see you succeed and subscribe to that person. You need a mentor, you need one. But most importantly, you need to develop an obsessive mind that focuses on getting things done in an extraordinary way, that focuses on excellence rather than mediocrity. You can't fall in line with the society. You can't just say, I want to do the normal things. There's nothing normal anywhere. No. There's no normalcy anywhere. There's no normal standard anywhere. It is a perceived standard. If you want the best, break out of it, step out of it, and get things done in an excellent way. Well, we can close the conversation on this note. I'm sure you've learned something. I'm sure you're going to take decision as a result of what you have learned tonight. So till I come your way again next week Sunday, this is Sunday Night Fest. Enjoy yourself. And my name is Bidemi Emmanuel. The Lord bless you. How about we say a word of prayer? We give you thanks, Father, for the wisdom you have shared in this wonderful conversation. And we ask that you will reform our heart, you will reform our desire and our taste buds to desire excellence in all that you have called us to do, whether in ministry, in business, or even in a career that you have chosen, and then a career path that you have chosen for us. You will open our eyes to desire excellence at all times. You will help us to be single eyed and very focused. In Jesus' name we are prayed. Enjoy yourself, wonderful people. I'll be on your screen again very soon.